Rachael Shwom. I'm a professor in the Department of Human Ecology at Rutgers University. I'm chair of the department and associated with the Rutgers Climate and Energy Institute. I've always felt a deep connection to nature because I grew up on Cape Cod and my dad was a fisherman, so I understood kind of how livelihoods connect. I live in Highlands, New Jersey on the coast, and we were very badly hit during Superstorm Sandy. When Superstorm Sandy hit, there was 6 feet of water in my house and that I was renting, but luckily I was living on the top floor. But now I own a house and I think about how our communities are tied and impacted to the environment and impacted by climate change. I think a lot about how we can both adapt to climate's impacts while still mitigating climate change and still trying to lessen the causes of climate change. So my house now has solar, and it has really good insulation and new electric heat pumps, but also it's raised, I don't know, about 12 feet off the ground, and there's no living space underneath, and that's in case we get another major storm like Superstorm Sandy and experience that kind of flooding. But I think a lot about what keeps people there in those communities. I know I love it. I love it for all the connections to nature that I get to experience with Hartshorn Woods and going to the beaches and having this small town community with places I can walk to, but also how that's threatened by the ever increasing impacts of climate change. I have a few different projects that look at how people are responding to climate change. One is just some major surveys done on people's preferences for how we decarbonize our electric grid. So what people prefer, large-scale solar or solar on farms, and then also understanding more about what people want from this decarbonized system. Do they really care about reliability? How much do they care about the price, and what can different groups of people afford, and how can those costs be distributed justly? And another project I have is looking at how people actually experience major climate change impacts or just major extreme weather, and whether they attribute that to climate change or kind of brush it off as something that just happens, and then how that influences their response, who they want to hold accountable, and that becomes kind of all part of the narrative of these storms, and then influence how we respond to them in the future and how it changes our behavior. And from the Department of Human Ecology, we have a major in environmental policy, institutions, and behavior, and thinking about how we teach students and equip students to go forward to be a whole army of people helping to mitigate and adapt to climate change. And that's a big part of my job now. I was a biology and English major and undergraduate at Syracuse University, but I saw climate change as kind of a science problem, trying to understand where the carbon's coming from, where it's going, why this is happening, to then thinking about it as a communication problem. In my master's, I looked at how people were talking about the uncertainty of climate change and how we were understanding that. But now I really understand climate change as a political problem, and that it's about people having power and not wanting to change the system. So I think the most important thing people can understand is, or the most important actions they can take, to take political action, to help build coalitions, to participate in environmental organizations that are working to build support for climate change policies, for particularly thinking about equity in climate change policies and making those policies kind of not impact the poor and disempowered the most. And that really kind of thinking about who you vote for, writing letters, participating in shows of numbers of people so that legislatures know about this, and understanding that those decisions are happening at the local and at the state and at the federal level. So it's not just, your national government that it matters. It's also your state board of public utilities does a lot on our energy sources, and at the local level. And so you can look to influence all those places and particularly build your networks, whether it's through friends, through your churches, through your workplace, to all try to influence these decisions. And so really shifting power relations is one of the most important things.